What happens when rhythm and blues crosses lines that can't be uncrossed? You're about to discover 12 songs so controversial, some were banned before most people even heard them. Songs that ended careers, sparked protests, and forced America to confront uncomfortable truths. And the most shocking thing, it's not what you think. One of these songs was literally deemed too dangerous for radio. We're starting with number 12.
Solid basis. No.
Number 12, Work With Me Annie by the Midnighters. The year is 1954. America is racially segregated. Television is brand new, and a song is about to cross over from black radio to white teenagers' turntables, causing parents to lose their minds. The Midnighters release Work With Me Annie, and suddenly every adult in America thinks they know exactly what Annie is working on. Hank Ballard wrote lyrics that seemed to describe physical intimacy with barely concealed metaphors. The song's driving rhythm and Annie's repeated pleas to work created something radio had never dealt with, a hit that parents were convinced would corrupt their children. What made this controversial wasn't just the suggestive content, it was that black artists were being heard in white households, singing about adult themes with zero apology, and the song spawned answer records. Annie Had a Baby followed, confirming everyone's suspicions about what all that work had produced. Then came Annie's Aunt Fanny, creating an entire controversial universe. Radio stations banned all of them, preachers condemned them from pulpits, and teenagers bought them in record numbers, precisely because adults said they shouldn't. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. This controversy opened a door. Major labels realized there was massive money in music that scandalized parents. They just needed to find a white artist who could make it palatable. Within months, they found a kid from Memphis who would change everything. We'll get to him later. But first, you need to understand what happened when R&B started telling stories that polite society refused to acknowledge. Number 11, The Wallflower, Roll With Me Henry by Etta James, 1958. The Chess Records studios in Chicago, and Etta James is about to record something that will define her career and infuriate censors for decades. Roll With Me Henry gets rewritten with a cleaner title for white audiences, The Wallflower, but even the sanitized version can't hide what Etta is really singing about. Her voice drips with suggestion. The way she delivers certain phrases leaves absolutely nothing to the imagination. But here's where it gets interesting. This was actually Hank Ballard's answer to his own Work With Me Annie series. Etta James took the male perspective song and flipped it, giving Annie, now called Henry for propriety, a female voice that was even more direct about desire. Radio programmers were caught in an impossible position, and the song was too good to ignore, too popular to ban completely, but too suggestive to play without consequences. Some stations played it, others refused. A few played it only late at night, and Etta James learned a lesson she'd carry forever. Controversy sells, but it also costs. The women who sang these songs paid a price male artists never did. They were called names, labeled as fast, treated as less respectable than their male counterparts singing identical content. Etta would spend years fighting that reputation, even as these early hits funded her entire career. But what she recorded in 1958 was nothing compared to what was coming from New Orleans.
Quick question, are you subscribed? If not, you're part of the 99% who watch and disappear. Here's the problem, YouTube won't show you our next video unless you subscribe. So if you want more untold music stories like this, hit that button right now, 2 seconds, do it before you forget.
Number 10. Money, That's What I Want, by Barrett Strong, New Orleans and Detroit, 1959. The cities where rhythm and blues was evolving in sweaty clubs and basement studios, where the music was always a little rawer, a little more dangerous than the polished pop on mainstream radio. And Barrett Strong is laying down vocals for a song that would reveal the uncomfortable truth behind the American dream. Money, That's What I Want, wasn't controversial for what it said, it was controversial for the raw hunger in how he said it. No smooth Motown polish yet, just desperate, unfiltered desire.
Money don't get everything.
For money, officially, but the performance suggested desire for everything money could buy, including things polite songs didn't mention.
It's true, but what I don't get, I can't.
Radio played it because you couldn't point to a single offensive word. But parents heard something that made them uncomfortable. That rawness, that hunger, that refusal to prettify the struggle. The song laid bare the materialism that America preached, but pretended was vulgar to name directly. When a black artist sang about wanting money with that much desperation, it reminded white audiences of economic inequalities they preferred to ignore. Some stations embraced it, others quietly removed it from rotation. And Barrett Strong learned that sometimes the most controversial thing you can do is tell the truth without dressing it up.
But your love don't pay my bills, I need money.
But in those same years, other artists were creating songs that made money sound like a nursery rhyme. Which brings us to something that happened when R&B got even more direct. Number 9. I Found a Love by the Falcons, Baltimore and Detroit, 1962. Cities with some of the toughest R&B scenes in America, where artists didn't play it safe, where the clubs stayed open all night and the music reflected every moment of it. The Falcons had Wilson Pickett on lead vocals, Eddie Floyd writing songs, and they were creating something raw. I Found a Love is nominally about devotion, but listen to how it's sung. The desperation, the possession. The way certain lines land with an intensity that suggested this wasn't about romantic love, this was about obsession. Wilson Pickett's voice doesn't just sing, it pleads, demands, and confesses all at once. Radio didn't know what to do with it. The song was too good to ignore completely, too popular in black communities to pretend it didn't exist. But too intense for the mainstream programming that was starting to embrace R&B. The emotion was too raw, too unfiltered. It sounded like something private that shouldn't be broadcast. Some stations banned it, others played it only on late-night shows. And the artists learned to create two versions, one for the streets, one for the charts. But what was happening in Memphis would make all of this look tame. Number 8. Hold On, I'm Coming by Sam and Dave Memphis, 1966. Stax Records is creating the grittiest soul music in America. Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, the Barkays. And a house band that played with a rawness that made Motown sound like chamber music. Into this environment comes a song that would define everything controversial about Southern soul. When when Sam and Dave recorded "Hold On, I'm Comin'," the title alone caused radio programmers to choke on their coffee. Isaac Hayes and David Porter wrote it. The story goes it came from a real moment, Hayes in a bathroom, Porter asking what was taking so long, Hayes shouting back, "Hold on, I'm coming." Innocent origin. But there was nothing innocent about how Sam and Dave delivered it. The urgency in their voices, the way they drew out certain syllables, and the call and response that built and built like they were building towards something that definitely wasn't appropriate for teenage ears. Radio stations that played it got complaints, preachers condemned it, parents called it obscene. And it became a massive hit anyway, because what made it controversial also made it irresistible. But the controversy served a purpose nobody talks about. It forced radio to make a choice. Either play the biggest R&B hits and deal with complaints, or ignore an entire genre and lose a massive audience. Radio chose money over morality. The floodgates opened, and what came through next changed everything. Number 7, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye, Detroit, 1973. Marvin Gaye has transformed from Motown's gentleman crooner into something far more dangerous, an artist who refuses to hide his intentions. Let's Get It On arrives and strips away every metaphor, every coded phrase, every polite suggestion that R&B had been using for 2 decades. This is the most direct song about physical desire that mainstream radio has ever faced. And they can't ignore it because it's Marvin Gaye. Giving yourself to me can never be wrong. The controversy isn't what he's suggesting, it's that he's not suggesting anything, he's stating it plainly. The opening lines make his intentions crystal clear. The music builds with unmistakable purpose. His vocal delivery removes any doubt about what it is and why we should get it on. If the love is true, oh. Churches condemned it. E-family radio stations refused to play it before 8 p.m. I've been dreaming of. Parents tried to keep it away from teenagers, and it became one of the biggest hits of the decade, spending weeks at number 1. Because Marvin did something revolutionary. He sang about adult desire as something natural, beautiful, and worth celebrating rather than hiding. He removed the shame, and that was more threatening than all the innuendo that came before. Because you can't undo that kind of honesty. Once someone says it plainly, all the coded language sounds ridiculous. Marvin opened a door that couldn't be closed, but while he was revolutionizing how R&B talked about intimacy, other artists were addressing topics even more controversial. Number 6, Papa Was a Rolling Stone by The Temptations, Detroit, 1972. The Temptations have been Motown royalty for a decade, clean cut, choreographed, safe. Then they record Papa Was a Rolling Stone and shatter every expectation. That my daddy died. This isn't a love song, it's a 7-minute autopsy of a broken family. A conversation between a child and mother about a father who was never there. Who died and left nothing but rumors, debts, and questions. The controversy wasn't about sex or language, it was about airing private pain publicly. About describing absentee fathers, infidelity, and family dysfunction in explicit detail. About making white America acknowledge that their fantasy of the nuclear family didn't exist in many black households, not because of moral failure, but because of systemic pressures that destroyed families. Radio stations worried it was too long, too dark, too honest. Some edited it down, others refused to play it at all. And the Temptations' polished, mainstream, crossover Temptations suddenly found themselves controversial. The song won Grammys, became a classic, but it cost them. Their image shifted. Some white audiences retreated, some radio formats dropped them. But they'd told a truth that needed telling. They documented a reality that entertainment was supposed to ignore. And in doing so, they proved that the most dangerous controversies aren't about shocking people, they're about revealing what everyone knows, but nobody discusses. But if that song made people uncomfortable, what was coming next would make them furious. Number 5, Pillow Talk by Sylvia New York, 1973. And the barriers between private and public are about to be demolished entirely. Sylvia Robinson, who'd been recording since the 1950s, who knew every rule, every boundary, every line you didn't cross, decides to cross all of them at once. Pillow Talk isn't suggestive, it's explicit. It's not a song, it's a simulated intimate encounter set to music. Heavy breathing, whispered phrases, sounds that leave nothing to the imagination. Radio stations panic. The FCC receives complaints. Religious groups demand it be pulled from stores. And it becomes a massive hit because it's unlike anything that's ever been on the radio. Sylvia didn't just push the envelope, she set it on fire. The song forced a reckoning. Either radio could play what audiences wanted to hear, or they could maintain outdated standards and lose relevance. Most chose to play it late at night. Some banned it outright. A few embraced it fully, but you couldn't unhear it, couldn't pretend it didn't exist. And other artists watched and learned. Authenticity sells. The more real, the more raw, the more honest, the more audiences respond. But Sylvia paid a price male artists never did. She was labeled, dismissed as less serious, treated as if her sexuality disqualified her artistry. The controversy around male artists made them legends. The same controversy around female artists made them targets. But Sylvia didn't care. She'd changed the game forever, and she'd paved the way for even more explicit content to come. But what nobody expected was how R&B would turn its lens towards social issues with the same unfiltered honesty. Number 4, Freddie's Dead by Curtis Mayfield, Chicago, 1972.
But his misery was his woman in vain.
Curtis Mayfield is scoring the film Superfly, a movie about drug dealers, addiction, and survival in the ghetto.
Now Freddie's dead. That's what.
And he's about to create a soundtrack that's more powerful than the film itself, more controversial, more enduring. Freddie's Dead tells the story of a drug addict who doesn't make it. No redemption arc, no happy ending, just a life lost to addiction and a community that mourns but can't save him.
Freddie's dead.
Radio doesn't know what to do with a song about drug addiction that doesn't moralize, that doesn't preach, that just documents the tragedy with soul-crushing beauty.
'Cause Freddie's dead.
Curtis sings about Freddie pushing dope, about everybody flying high, about a system that creates addicts and then criminalizes them. Some stations ban it immediately. Too depressing, too real, and too close to issues they don't want to address during afternoon drive time.
Freddie's on the corner now.
But the song becomes unavoidable. It's too good, too important, too honest.
If you want to be a junkie, why? Remember that.
And Curtis Mayfield proves something crucial. You can make people face uncomfortable truths if you wrap them in undeniable artistry. The controversy around Freddie's Dead isn't about obscenity, it's about responsibility. Critics argue the song glorifies drug culture. Curtis argues he's documenting reality. The debate rages, and meanwhile, the song saves lives by showing the truth that Just Say No campaigns never could.
Yeah, yeah.
But as controversial as Freddie's Dead was, it was only the setup for what else was on that soundtrack.
La, la.
Number 3, Pusher Man by Curtis Mayfield. Same album, same year, same artist. But Pusher Man goes somewhere even Freddie's Dead wouldn't go. It's sung from the dealer's perspective. First person, no judgment, no condemnation. Just the economics, the psychology, the reality of being the person who supplies what Freddie and countless others demand. Curtis Mayfield sings as the pusherman, explaining his role, describing his customers, detailing his product, acknowledging the dependency he creates.
I'm your pusherman.
And he does it over a groove so hypnotic, it makes you understand exactly why people keep coming back. The controversy is immediate and massive. Community groups protest. Anti-drug organizations demand the album be pulled. Radio stations that play it get boycotted. Because this isn't just documenting drug culture, this is humanizing the dealer, or showing him as a businessman, as someone created by systemic poverty and limited options. As a product of the environment rather than pure evil, Curtis Mayfield forces America to confront what it's created, to see that the war on drugs is fighting symptoms, not causes. To understand that criminalizing dealers doesn't eliminate the economic desperation that creates them. The song gets banned. Curtis receives death threats. Police harassment increases at his shows. But the Superfly soundtrack becomes one of the biggest albums of the decade. Wins awards, influences generations. Proves that the most powerful controversy isn't about shocking people, it's about telling truths they don't want to hear. But as controversial as addressing drugs was, there was one topic even more dangerous for R&B to touch. Number 2, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, Detroit, 1971. Marvin Gaye has been Motown's gentleman, the sophisticated one, the safe one, and he's done with all of it.
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on?
What's Going On isn't a sex song. It's something more dangerous, a political song, a protest song, a song that questions American wars, police brutality, and environmental destruction in the same 3 minutes. Berry Gordy refuses to release it, calls it career suicide, says it's too controversial, too political, too risky.
Oh, but who are they to judge us?
Marvin releases it anyway, and it becomes the biggest hit of his career. The song asks questions that America in 1971 doesn't want to answer. Questions about Vietnam. About police violence in black neighborhoods. About poverty and inequality. About who's dying and who's profiting. Radio stations split along predictable lines. Had progressive stations embrace it.
Picket lines and picket signs.
Conservative stations ban it. Some play it only on late-night shows when controversy feels safer, but the audience makes it unavoidable. The song hits number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100.
I wanna know.
The album goes platinum, And Marvin Gaye proves something crucial: controversy about substance has more staying power than controversy about sex. Songs that make people think threaten the system more than songs that make people dance.
Right on.
Because you can dismiss sexual content as just entertainment, but political content demands response. Demands that you either agree or defend the opposite position.
Don't punish me with brutality.
And the system isn't ready for R&B to become political, to speak truth to power, to document injustice with the same artistry previously reserved for love songs. The controversy around what's going on fundamentally changes what R&B can be. Opens space for message music, for consciousness, for art that does more than entertain.
What's going on? Tell me what's going on.
But even that wasn't the most controversial moment in R&B history, because there's one song that combined every type of controversy we've discussed, and it remains too dangerous for most radio even today. Number 1, I'll Take You There by the Staple Singers, 1972. The Staple Singers have been recording gospel music for decades. Mavis Staples has one of the most powerful voices in American music. Pop Staples is a civil rights legend who marched with Dr. King. And they're about to release a song that merges sacred and secular in ways that enrage both religious and mainstream audiences. I'll Take You There sounds like church, the rhythm, the call and response. Mavis singing about taking you to a place where there's no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble. But here's the controversy. Where exactly is she taking you? The song never says explicitly, sounds like heaven, feels like church, but the groove is pure R&B. The way Mavis sings it carries an earthly passion that doesn't sound entirely spiritual. And the ambiguity is intentional. Aren't the Staple Singers are merging the sacred and the sensual, suggesting that transcendence, whether spiritual or physical, comes from the same source. That joy is joy, regardless of whether you find it in church or in someone's arms. Religious stations are furious. This is gospel music being used for secular purposes. Or worse, it's secular music disguised as gospel to sneak past defenses. R&B stations don't know where to put it. Too churchy for the love song rotation, too groove-oriented for the message music slot. And the Staple Singers refuse to clarify. Let the ambiguity exist. Let people find whatever transcendence they're seeking. The song hits number 1, becomes an anthem. Gets played at churches and clubs alike, and destroys the artificial boundary between sacred and secular that American culture insisted upon. And this is the ultimate controversy, refusing to separate spirit and body.
Help me. Come on.
Refusing to pretend that joy, love, and transcendence belong only in certain approved contexts.
Somebody help me now. Yeah.
The Staple Singers took the most powerful elements of gospel, the emotion, the passion, the promise of something better, and let them exist in the same space as R&B's earthly desires. And that fusion was more threatening than any explicit lyric, because it suggested that maybe the separation between sacred and secular was always artificial. Always designed to control rather than uplift, always limiting rather than liberating.